bad system will beat a good person every time. So if you're like an amazing photographer, but whenever you get a client, you're like all over the place. It doesn't matter how good your work is, but if like your processes are stressing, your onboarding process takes so long, it kind of like messes up with the whole process.
That's so true. I believe that systems help facilitate good relationships with your client, with your teammates, with your suppliers, with everybody. Hello, Masterpiece Makers. Welcome to another episode of the Making Masterpiece podcast. I am your host, Norbert Elnar. And today, guys, we are so honored to have a special guest with us because, I know a lot of our Masterpiece Makers are professional, freelance creatives, or in any kind of consulting business. And this is sort of like the new age, right? We are banking on our credibility, our expertise, and our knowledge we want to share to people. And today, I know a lot of us, especially when I was in my early days, there's always this problem of trying to chase clients for the next sale. And over time, you realize that, it is your reputation and your credibility that people are looking for. And today we are very honored to talk to someone who has done this in her career at a very young age. And I must say, I'm so proud of her. And she's going to talk about how to freelance well, how to build a reputation as Kingdom Brands, and how we can attract our dream projects without necessarily chasing our clients. Please welcome to the show a very good friend of mine, Thoriso Tlake, all the way from South Africa. Hi, Thoriso.
Hi, Norbert. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, it is an honor to have you. Guys, I have known Thoriso since...
Almost a decade. Just kidding. 5 years.
Yes. Half
5
a
years.
decade at least. I have seen her journey personally, and you know what? It's just a miracle after a miracle after a miracle. And again, as I've said in the intro, I'm so proud of her and how she's
Thank you.
taken herself from, when she was an intern, and now she's doing all this amazing stuff, building systems. What is your secret? If there's a secret. What is it that you think made you a better freelancer in all these years of your experience?
Thank you, Norbert. That's really a good question. I would say one of the best things that helped me in my journey was, number one, being consistent, learning from people who have walked the path, people like you, being in communities like the Masterpiece, Kingdom Brands. And yeah, like I said, just being consistent, learning as I go, being faithful, stewarding my skills so well. That has made things a little bit easy for me.
Yes. Oh, thank you for the kind words. That's so nice to hear. Okay, let's go deep into our topic now. Could you paint us a picture where you were first starting out? How did it look like? What services were you offering as a new freelancer? And what early experience taught you that building a reputation of trust, again, building that reputation of trust was far more important than chasing clients?
So when I first started freelancing, I focused on building websites and managing social media for construction businesses. And the reason I started there is because I actually studied civil engineering, didn't complete it, so I'm not a qualified civil engineer. And I worked as an intern in that field, so I already knew the lingo and the environment. And you might be asking, so how did you go from engineering to like managing people's hashtags? I think the whole journey started in 2021, but the root was planted back in 2019 when I decided to take a year off everything and go serve a church. That's where I also met you. And I was so privileged to be part of the program called Innovation Hub. So I was an intern in there, and this program they were teaching young people digital marketing skills. I wasn't in this program, but I was in the program as an intern for the facilitators and leaders that way, facilitating that program. So I was the intern making sure that tea and coffee was ready for those students, the laptops were ready, everything was just prepared for the sessions. So one of the things that I had access to was the videos or the programs that they were teaching them, which meant I get to watch the videos as well. I get to sit in classes as well while I was helping the facilitators. So that sparked the idea of, oh, you can actually like try this out. And I was interested, like I'll go back home, still continue watching the videos, did my own research as well. And that was it. I forgot about it. And after 2 years of that internship, I went back to civil engineering. I continued with my intent to get my qualifications. But during the season of interning, I wasn't really enjoying what I was doing. And I was still consuming some of the content from my interning days. So I was getting into digital marketing, learning how to build websites. And I remember one of the companies that I was working for, which was a construction company, they didn't have a website. So I was like, oh, now I have a skill. Can I monetize it? Because I've learned like a few things about monetizing your skills. I approached my boss at the time, asked if they need a website. Unfortunately, they said, no, like we're not really online people. Long story short, I went to another company that I also knew. I was like, I'm going to go to this company. I'm going to work for them as a civil engineer intern. And then maybe I'll approach them with the website thing as well. And then what I noticed about them was, oh, their website actually was so difficult to even get in touch with them. Like I was learning more about like how to optimize your website. And when I looked at their website, I was like, the website like really sucks. Like I can do something with this guy. So I decided to switch my pitch instead of like looking for a job as a civil engineer. I was like, let me pitch them a website and see how it goes. And I think it was like the right thing to ask at the right time. So they said, oh, we're actually looking to update our website. Like, can you tell us more about your services, what you do? So nervous, feeling so not qualified for that, but I went for it, pitched my website. And to make the long story short, that was my first ever client. I did their website, I managed all their social media, and my journey started from there. And it's been almost 5 years. I'm still saving clients like them, small businesses. And yeah, it's been a journey, but that's how I ended up here.
Wow, that's amazing. Thank you for sharing that because I think it's very inspiring to hear. I mean, you just pitched the idea and you just went for it. And I know how that feels when you feel like, oh, I haven't done anything yet. But there,
Yeah. Didn't have a portfolio, nothing.
nothing, and you just went for it. But that's the thing. I think that shows so much about the character, right? To me, it also feels like it's really like a big step of faith because well, you went there for a job and then you ended up getting a job from them and building your own business. That's really cool. What was the hardest part of freelancing in the early stage of your career, Teresa?
Sure. The hardest part of it, I think you've also been there. There are those seasons where finances are just really, really low. And I've been doing well before, like I was getting used to getting clients, things were consistent. And then things that just started going low. And I went to like zero. There was a point where I even packed my bags. I'm currently in Cape Town, but I'm from Limpopo. I packed my bags. I went home because it was that bad. I couldn't afford like rent and all these things. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna go back home, focus on this thing because I can see it's working. And in that season, I think I also lost, like I wasn't depending on God anymore. That season really humbled me. I ended up, like I said, moving back home, getting to reset, rebuilding my relationship with God, and also like learn from the people who have already walked this path before and ahead of me. Yeah, that was kind of like the season that was a bit low and also humbling.
Yeah, because that is the reality of this business, right? You start to build something and then seasons like this come. And I love what you said that it humbled you. For many of our listeners, there's that breaking point, and probably that moment is similar to what you were saying, a moment when we feel like we're really trapped in this hustle culture and something has to change. How did your faith provide the conviction for turning that around in your journey? What can you tell us about the role of your faith at this time?
Oh yeah, like you said, like freelancing can push you into this hustle mode and you ended up, just leaning too much on your own strength, depending on other people like to bring in the income. And when I moved back home, I had to relearn to trust God to give me the conviction to build with integrity and not just hustle. And it's also where I discovered the power of systems. Like I said, I started learning from the people who have done it before, and those systems help me to serve clients with excellence while also creating like a business that's serve my clients well. And one of the scriptures that kept me going, and I've read the scriptures, no, but like I've read the scriptures, but something with scripture, sometimes we read the first part and then we forgot about the other half of that scripture. And that's Proverbs 3, verse 5, which says, trust in the Lord with all your heart, like do not depend on your own understanding. And I think I stopped there at some point. I did trust God, but then the second part of it says, seek his will in all that you do, and he will show you the path to take. That was kind of like a reminder for me to not just, trust God, but like continue seeking his will. We do get lost in the busyness of everything. The rest of the scripture also just hit me hard, and I was like, okay, God, like I want to do this with you. I don't want to do it with my own strength. And it continues and says, don't be impressed with like your own wisdom. Instead, like fear the Lord and turn away from evil. Then you will have healing in your body and strength for your bones. And I was like, oh, okay. Now here's the map. Like I know how to do things well. And that's where I kind of started coming back to the business side of things and also getting the confidence to do business well.
That's incredible. Thank you for sharing that. It's probably hard for people to reconcile that a digital marketing expert, a systems person is like talking about supernatural understanding. That doesn't happen often, right? Like it's almost like, oh really? Wow. How do you even combine both? And I love what you said, that it felt like you almost needed that season. It felt like it was a must for you to go through that season. And I know it was difficult. I know it was hard. Look at you now. If it weren't for that season, you wouldn't have come out stronger. Don't you agree?
100%, 100%. And sometimes when we do business, it's because sometimes in churches or as a faith-based person, we don't have this huge examples of people running business. We tend to look outside, like the people who are famous or the people who are doing well in the secular world. And that kind of like also like filters your faith journey in doing business. So yeah, that's a really, really good point.
Years ago, I started a personal journey to help provide professional creative communication solutions to brands born out of faith and big dreams, but running on limited resources. Before finding my true calling in ministry, I was an advertising professional, and I always felt frustrated whenever a great idea, product, service, or community initiative didn't take off simply because branding wasn't a priority. I've seen too many faith-oriented entrepreneurs and nonprofit leaders make this mistake because they don't have access to professional creative services, or they are put off by the high cost and consumerist approach. I decided to use my experiences in mainstream advertising and in ministry to bridge the gap. The result is a 6-module branding course that can help transform brands, effectively tell their stories, reach their audience, and help them achieve their goals. Teaching this to business owners and leaders, I've seen it transform confusing concepts into real brands that cut through the noise and make real everyday impact. I believe that brands can be a blessing to the world, solving problems and easing burdens, fueled by passion and driven by purpose. That is what we aim to do with Masterpiece Kingdom Brands. If this resonates with you and you're ready to uncover your kingdom brand, let's connect. Sign up for the Masterpiece Kingdom Brand Building course today. Yeah, that's so true. And speaking of systems, Thoriso, you said that from just hustling and trying to chase clients, you realized the importance of making systems and creating systems so that you can last. You don't burn out in the process of doing business. A lot of freelancers overcomplicate systems, per se. From your experience, what are some of the most simple first steps someone can take to save hours each week and serve their clients better?
Yeah, no, but I think a lot of freelancers complicate this. That I overcomplicated everything at the beginning. I focused on the wrong things at the beginning. I was so obsessed with having a portfolio, even though I didn't have clients to put in a portfolio. But I was like, let me build my website first. Let me make my website pretty. But the basics are very simple. Like if maybe you're a beginner or you're already someone who's working and you have a skill that you are monetizing through your job, the simple blueprint that I use is you start with a skill that you're good at. In my case, I was good at building websites and optimizing them. And the second part of that is you identify the real problem that your skill solves, because business is all about solving problems, and we use our skill to solve problems, and in exchange people give us money. And the third part, I would say, package it into a clear service, which is an offer. There's different ways to package your service. It could be, as a freelancer like me, it could be consulting with something that you are knowledgeable about. And then the fourth thing, I'll say, find the market that your problem solves. It could be like people that you've worked with before. It could be people that you know that, okay, your service or your offer will serve this market well, and just focus on that one market. Then I'd say the fifth one, I don't know which number I'm at, learn how to sell your service. Like, selling is a very good skill for anyone, whether you're a business or anyone in general. But yeah, learn how to sell, and then scale what works. That's where systems come. Like, try to templatize like your systems. If you have something that you're doing on a repeatable basis, like sending your invoices, try to do that in a way where it's a template, and you know the next time that you get your next client, you use the same template. And with templates like this, like on the system sides, don't think about like big softwares right away. Start small, have a client onboarding process, use templates for contracts, like I said, emails, track your projects somewhere reliable. Like, don't have a client on WhatsApp, a client in your emails, a client on Slack. Try to get those people in one place. Even like something like a shared Google Doc can save you hours a week. And those simple steps make you look professional, and it builds trust. It also free up your energy for the work that matters the most in your business, because you're kind of like a one-man show. So it's easier when you know where everything is, and you can just like press a button and all your clients are updated, or all your things are outlined like simply.
Wow, that was very packed, and that was so good. I love that. I think the difference now in I just thought based on my experience in my time, our access to a lot of these systems are so limited. If not, there were not enough free tools to work with. So you kind of like have to pull things out from a lot of places, right? And I love what you said, putting them all together and challenging our kingdom minded freelancers and masterpiece makers to really professionalize and put a system in the operational side of the business. Because I know a lot of photographers, and this is not about creating the best lighting photo. It's the craft is the craft. You do it well, you can do it well. But the system, selling your services, this is something that you need to learn, and it is something that can be learned. I am not naturally gifted in other things, but I have appreciated over the years how to create templates and automate invoices, something like that. It does save so much time and makes you really excellent in servicing your clients, and also it saves you the brain space and the energy. It's very important to save our brain space because there's only so much you can do in a day.
It is. And I don't know where I had this quote, Norbert, but it was something along the lines of, bad system will beat a good person every time. Like, you gave an example of a photographer. So if you're like an amazing photographer, but whenever you get a client, you're like all over the place. Like, it doesn't matter how good your work is, but if like your processes are stressing, your onboarding process takes so long, they pay you, but they don't know, oh, am I getting this at this time? Like, what's happening? It kind of like messes up with the whole process. And yeah, a bad system will just beat a good person every single time.
That's so true. That's so true. I also know and I believe that when you create the systems help facilitate good relationships with your client, with your teammates, with your suppliers, with everybody. And I know this from prime experience because we are people of faith, and sometimes we're guilty of like, it's okay, like there's grace, it's fine. At a certain point, it has to change because it takes out the excellence and the professionalism. And I don't think God is happy with that because it's like our excuse and our opening to mediocrity. And I'm not saying, guys, that you don't do that. Like, I'm not saying that it's very wrong. I know it's a season, and because you're figuring out things, like nobody gets it right at the very first time. It's a process that you need to learn. But I think what is important is that we are intentional and making the first steps to really create a system for us.
100%. And yeah, building systems is one of those boring things that we overlook because sometimes we're like, oh, it's boring, it's admin. But I think I've had this quote also from, it was Justin, and he said something along the lines of when you're doing something like every day, it might seem boring to you, but like the experience that your client is going to get is an experience that they're doing for the first time, or they're having that experience for the first time. For you, you've been doing it forever, but for them, the experience is something that is smooth, and it's easy for them to like trust you when you have that kind of service. But yeah, that's a very
Wow.
good point of it.
On point. Thoriso, at the end of the day, reputation is the freelancer's currency. How do integrity, reliability, and excellence ground your work and play into building trust and attracting dream projects?
Shoot, that's a really good question, Norbert. And you're right, like reputation is really a freelancer's currency, because if your reputation is bad, like as a freelancer, you don't have another person to take out there and be the face of your brand. Like you're kind of like the face of your business until you decide to take other parts, like running an agency or other things. But one thing about your reputation is that it will easily run you out of business, and skills will open doors, but things like your integrity, reliability, and excellence are what keeps you inside those rooms. And for me, that's rooted in faith. Integrity means being honest even when it costs me money, and reliability means people can count on me to show up. We live in the days where people are claiming that they can do something, you pay them, they are gone. So I've worked with clients where they had so many freelancers that have ghosted them. And when you're not doing your work with excellence and you're just like chasing the next check that you're gonna get and not doing the best job, things like that does ruin your reputation. And yeah, just excellence means I aim to exceed expectations as well and not just meet them. And I've had so many clients tell me that the reason they stuck with me wasn't because I was like the most talented person that they've ever worked with, but simply because like they knew they could trust me. They knew I would show up. And as a freelancer, sometimes you might even feel like a hired like employee, like you get replaced when the business doesn't have enough money to hire someone in house. But when you have that kind of reputation, you even ended up like feeling like you're part of that team or the small business that you're working with. Like I even had experiences where a client would trust me with like the direction of their business. And that's where you want to get as a freelancer, to partner with, whether you're working with small businesses or you're just helping people in general. Like you want to get to a point where people trust you in that way. Oh, they want you in the room to be part of like the decision making of where their business is going. And then, like I said, some of the clients even said, I didn't have to micromanage you. Like a lot of freelancers out there, like you have to micromanage them. You have to ask them, oh, when are you delivering my project? And they just knew it would be done without them chasing me. And that's the kind of reputation that attracts dream projects. And for me, it comes back to living out my faith in my work and making sure that I do the best that I can to serve these people, to help them solve whatever problem that they have that my skill can help with.
Wow. Oh, thank you so much for saying those words. It's so liberating, it's so refreshing, and it's very, very encouraging. You've been in this journey for quite some time and you have learned the lessons the hard way. You know what to do, what not to do. How can our masterpiece makers learn more about creating systems, freelancing, and how to be more excellent in this area? How can they get hold of you?
Thank you again, Novid, for this opportunity. And Novid has encouraged me to be more active on social. So Thoriso Tlake on all social media platforms, LinkedIn, YouTube. I'm trying to get into YouTube. Novid has been giving me a lot of tips on that. So you can find me on all the platforms with my full name, Thoriso Tlake. And yeah, I really appreciate this time with you,
Ye-
Novid.
Yes, we love you, Teresa, and thank you so much. We have worked with Teresa. She did a workshop for us back in the days, and it was
Yes.
so good. And we're gonna see more of you in the community as well. We're gonna learn so much from Teresa, and yeah, we're just cheering you on, and we're so proud of the Kingdom brand that you're building. So thank you so much for being on our show.
Thank you for having me, Novid.
Wow, what a powerful conversation with Teresa, Masterpiece Makers. I love how she reminded us that freelancing isn't just about chasing projects. It's about building systems, protecting our time, and showing up with integrity, reliability, and excellence. That's how we build a reputation that speaks for us and attracts the kind of work we're called to do. If today's episode encouraged you, don't just keep it to yourself, please. Share it with another freelancer, another business owner who needs this reminder. And if you haven't yet, make sure you subscribe to the Making a Masterpiece podcast on YouTube, on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, and wherever you get your podcast, so you don't miss future episodes to build your faith and inspire your business. My name is Norbert Elnar, and this is the Making a Masterpiece podcast. Till then.